This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Hey everyone, this is Peter Zablocki, the host of the Daily History Shorts podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. If this is your first time stopping by, I hope you stick around and return tomorrow for more fun history. And if you enjoy these Friday conversation series, you can always find the entire backlog of conversations with historians, authors, Pulitzer Prize winners, and much more under the Conversations tab on our website at www.historyshortspodcast.com.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Today's conversation is proudly brought to you by The Collector, your destination for captivating stories that teach, inform, and inspire millions of readers every day. From ancient history to today's defining moments, from philosophy and art to exclusive interviews, discover more at thecollector.com. Today I'm thrilled to have with us none other than Rick Steves, the travel expert, author, and cultural historian whose work has inspired millions to explore the world with curiosity, empathy, and a deep appreciation for history. From his iconic travel guides and PBS television series to his advocacy for meaningful, responsible travel, Rick has spent decades helping people understand not just the places they visit, but the people who live there. In today's conversation, we'll dive into the intersections of travel, history, and culture, exploring how our journeys shape the way that we see the world and ourselves. Rick, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking the time.
You're welcome, Peter. Nice to be with you.
So what got you started on this path toward becoming America's leading authority on travel? Was there like a moment in your life when you said to yourself, this is what I want to do?
Well, I used to be a piano teacher, and my students wouldn't practice in the summer. And I thought, I'm not going to hang around. I'm going to go to Europe every summer. So it was a good gig. I would teach during the school year and travel during the summer. My dad was imported pianos from Germany. So my first trip to Europe was to visit the piano factories, and then we visited relatives up in Norway. And so I was comfortable traveling. And every summer I'd travel just for kicks. And it was so clear I was learning from my mistakes. I was becoming a very good traveler on a super tight budget. And what was just as clear is other people were learning from their mistakes, which were the same mistakes that I learned from the year before. And I thought if I could just package the lessons I've learned from my mistakes into a talk or a book or something like that, other American travelers could learn from my mistakes rather than their own and travel smarter in Europe. And so that's what I started doing. I mean, I remember in Oslo one year, I was changing money at a bank with traveler's checks, and I had five $20 traveler's checks, changed $100, counted my crowns, and I was missing like $15 worth of crowns. I say, what's going on? And he said, well, in Norway, we charge $4 per check, not per transaction. So don't change money with small checks. Next year, I came back with a $100 check instead of 5 20s, and I got $15 more. And the woman in front of me had 5 20s. She made the same mistake I made, literally, at the same bank the year before. And I thought, this is my niche. So, I started teaching practical budget travel tips. And at the same time, when I was traveling, I kept discovering these amazing places, what I call back doors. And everybody goes to Stonehenge and, looks over the barbed wire and uses the same porta potty. And you got the tour guides with blowhorns and big lots filled with tour buses to see the stone circles at Stonehenge. I found my own private Stonehenge that I hiked to from a youth hostel in Dartmoor in South England. I was there all alone, surrounded by just the wonder of the ages. And it made me so poetic. It just turned me on. And I remember writing about that and thinking, this is my calling. I can find these offbeat places and share them with Americans. So, the practical tips and finding the offbeat places, that's what I started doing. I gave up my piano students, turned my recital hall into a lecture hall. And that was back in 1980. I wrote my first guidebook. And since then, I've been doing exactly the same thing. But I've got 100 very hardworking, mission-driven colleagues that work with me at my company, Rick Steves Europe in Edmonds, and technology beyond my wildest dreams to amplify my teaching. And now I'm just doing the same thing. I go to Europe 3 months a year. I make all sorts of mistakes. I take careful notes, come back and share what I learned. And it's been working out quite well. I'm having a blast.
Do you still play the piano when you get a chance?
Oh yeah, I've got a piano about 5 steps away right here, and I
All right.
love it. And it just takes
But
me
no
to
more students.
no more piano students. I love that. I wish I could be a piano teacher, but you can only, you're only one person. So I really enjoy teaching, and I just, I'm at an age where most of my friends are retiring, but I'm just having so much fun. I'm just keeping on going. We've got, the three big things in my business is writing the guidebooks. I've written 60 or 70 guidebooks. Making the TV shows. I think we've made 150 TV shows for public television, and we're just releasing a new series in the next month or so. And leading tours. We take 30,000 Americans around Europe every year on our tours, on our Rick Steves bus tours. And just today, we've got over 100 buses on the road all over Europe. And I was just in Italy on a vacation, enjoying Venice and hiking in the Dolomites and the Italian Riviera with my girlfriend, and kept bumping into our tour groups, and they were just having so much fun. And I just thought, I'm a lucky guy. I get to do what I love, and I get to bump into people who are using my material, and I think that we're mission driven. In my company, we like to joke that our mission is to equip and inspire Americans to venture beyond Orlando. It's important these days that Americans get out there and broaden their perspectives through travel. There's a lot of
100%.
frightened people, and I've found that, the flip side of fear is understanding, and we gain understanding when we travel. It's a beautiful thing to take a person who is threatened by the rest of the world and the other 96% of humanity, and encourage and equip and inspire them to venture beyond Orlando or Vegas, or Cancun, and actually try Portugal or go to your home country, Poland, and realize that, wow, this world is filled with love and with joy and with beautiful people. And if all you do is read commercial news or watch commercial news, you become a frightened person. But if you get out there and travel, you celebrate the world. And if we all traveled a little bit, I think this world would be a much better place. And if we all traveled a little bit, the United States would not be in the pickle it's in right now.
I think you're still a teacher. You just have a much bigger audience of students. That I want to say that first.
Yeah.
This is a perfect segue because my next question is, how do you think travel can help bridge historical divides and better understand the world? You kind of touched upon that right now. And what impact do you believe today's travelers can have on maintaining cultural understanding through travel?
Yeah. Well, I've got this notion, Peter, that you can learn a lot about your home by leaving it and looking at it from a distance. And this is a beautiful thing. And I just love to travel and get a broader perspective. Everybody's got their favorite travel quotes. I like a quote 1400 years old by Mohammed. And he said, "Don't tell me how educated you are, tell me how much you've traveled." Thomas Jefferson said, "Travel makes a person wiser, if less happy." And I've thought a lot about that. And, you can be clueless and you can just, surround yourself by people who are just like you and have a nice barbecue apron and make your life look like a Budweiser beer commercial. Or you can get out and grapple with the reality on this planet. And I just love connecting with the world through my travels. I don't like to be ethnocentric and I don't like to be chronocentric. I'm a historian and I'm a traveler. My travels help me not be ethnocentric, and my background in history helps me not be chronocentric. And you put that together, and you get the life experience, I think, that can let you be a good travel teacher and a good travel writer. When we are dreaming about our travels, I think it's important for us to not think of culture shock as a thing to avoid. Culture shock is actually a good thing. It's a constructive thing. It's the growing pains of a broadening perspective. And a good traveler travels in order to have culture shock, but it needs to be curated. That's where your guide, that's where I come in, so that, the culture shock is constructive. I just love getting out of my comfort zone. I love being humbled in my ethnocentricity. I love realize that I am not the norm. Those of us who sit on a toilet when we need to go to the bathroom are not the norm. We're people who need to sit on a toilet. The average human being squats. People who use metal utensils to shovel food into their mouth. We are not the norm. I've had beautiful moments in my travels. In Afghanistan, I met a man who made a point to explain to me that a third of the people on this planet eat with a spoon and fork like I do, a third of the people eat with chopsticks, and a third of the people eat with their fingers like he does. And he made it really clear to me. He said, "We're all civilized just the same." I just love that. It just really, really, those are the beautiful growing pains of a broadening perspective, and that's why I travel. And when I come home, it gives me a kind of dual citizenship. I've got this wonderful new global perspective and a keener appreciation of what it means to be an American. This is where I belong, but I also want to be part of the family of nations. And as a travel writer and a teacher and a hardworking person that has a really care for my community, this is kind of one of my missions as a teacher is to remind Americans that the world's a big and beautiful place, and it's beautiful to get out there and get to know it. If you believe in a God, we're all children of that God. It means we're all brothers and sisters, and it means love thy neighbor has nothing to do with proximity. I just really love that idea that need and suffering and joy and love are just as real across the sea as they are across the street, and that's the mark of a traveler.
Yeah, I think JFK was the one that said that too, right? We are all one people.
Yeah,
I,
yeah. Well, think of the opposite of that. Think of somebody who proudly does not have a passport and who proudly does not want to be exposed to other ways of thinking and actually thinks we are exceptional in God's eyes. The only thing exceptional about Americans is our ability to think that we could be exceptional in God's eyes.
how do you choose which historical and cultural sites to feature when you go to different regions?
Well, that's a very important part of my work. I spend a lot of time. I've been to Europe 4 times this year, once on vacation and 3 times making TV shows and working on my guidebooks. And I have to decide, what am I going to put in my TV shows? It's a ethical decision. Do I just want to put a bunch of Hollywood sightseeing in my shows? I mean, a lot of people go around the world just to see places they see in their favorite movies, or do I want to really get into important things to learn? And of course, what I try to do is find sightseeing experiences that broaden our perspectives, that impact us. Transformational travel, Peter, is a word that people throw around a lot. I take it seriously. I like to think that travel can be transformational. So when I'm in Europe, what am I going to cover? Am I going to cover the torture dungeon and Madame Tussauds Wax Museum? Or when I'm in London, am I going to go to the Imperial War Museum and the Churchill Museum? Am I going to go to when I go to Poland? Am I just going to go shopping in Krakow with all the tourists, or am I going to go to you can go to Auschwitz, the concentration camp, of course, and you can also go in Gdansk to the
Oh, the,
wonderful
the World War II museum is beautiful in Gdańsk.
World War II museum and the Solidarity Museum with the
Yes.
doctors in Lech Walesa. That's so inspirational. Am I going to go to the homes of great artists and be inspired by them? I mean, there are so many museums in Europe where you're just surrounded by the works and the gifts of a great musician or a great painter. The Monk Museum in Oslo is amazing. The Dali House in Catalan in Spain is wonderful. Open air folk museums let you go back in time. It's history and culture on a lazy Susan for a traveler. And every country has an open air folk museum where you can go and see traditional folk life still right there being reenacted in front of you. So there's a lot of beautiful, beautiful sightseeing you can do. Every day is a potential treasure. And when I'm writing, I don't just want random facts. I don't need dates and names. I got to give every little bit of history the so what test. Why does that matter? And I want people to learn fundamental issues, humanism, what's going on in 1500. All of a sudden they're translating the Bible so people can read it into their own language. All of a sudden, science and mathematics are combined with art so we can show really three-dimensional scenes on a two-dimensional surface and create just gorgeous art. Fascism. What can we learn about fascism in our travels? And then how can that apply to our responsibilities as citizens today? Europe has learned hard lessons from fascism. Half of Europe was fascist 100 years ago, and there are the same dynamics going on in our world today as democracy is under attack. What can you learn by being exposed to different religions? It's such a beautiful thing for a person who has a strong faith in a particular religion to travel in a country that is dominated by another religion and gain a respect for that. It's just so much fun to travel and deal with issues that are facing us. I was just in Venice, and of course, climate change and rising sea levels, that's a big deal in Venice. I was just hiking in the Dolomites. Climate change, it's a big deal in the Alps. I was just hiking through vineyards in the Italian Riviera. Climate change is a big deal if you're growing wine in Europe. Well, of course, these are all just kind of lightweight impacts of climate change, but it does remind you in a vivid and powerful way that climate change is real. And then when you realize that half of the world is smallholder farmers living on $5 a day on tiny farm plots with a climate that's suddenly unpredictable, you realize the impact of climate change on humanity. Um, this is stuff that complicates your life, but if the truth and if reality and good citizenship and stewardship of our environment is comes with some complications, sign me up. I want to be on the side that's going to make our world a better place for our children and their children. So for me, travel can be um, a playground. I always think of there's three kinds of travelers, Peter. There's a tourist, a traveler, and a pilgrim. The road can be a playground, the road can be a school, and the road can be a church or a synagogue or a mosque. And you don't need to be, just a bon vivant and a hedonist, and you don't need to be just a monk and a theologian or a philosopher or a poet, but you can be a little bit of everything. And that's the fun thing about designing your trip. Uh, Raise the bar, have an impactful trip, be thoughtful, be prepared. Recognize that the more understanding you bring to your sightseeing, the more you'll get out of it. I can't get you a discounted ticket to the Louvre, but I can teach you how to appreciate the art in there in a way that your investment in a ticket to the Louvre will be 3 times as rewarding as the next person. That's the best budget tip I can give you.
When you speak to all these people in Europe, do they ever ask you, "Hey, I want to visit America. Where should I go?" I assume you've gotten that before over the years. If someone does ask you that, I mean, America is such a vast nation with so many things to do and see. Like, if someone from Europe were to say, Rick, where do I go first? Where do I fly into? I only have a week. That's a
Ah,
tough one, right?
yeah. Well, first of all, right now Europeans are not asking that.
Yes.
They're not dreaming of coming to the United States right now. I've got to say, and that's kind of a sad and a heartbreaking thing because we used to be a country that people aspired to
Want
be.
to.
And I've noticed, I've been traveling to Europe for 40 years, and with the different swings of the political environment in our country, America can be trendy and popular, or American can be not appealing. You measure it by how's the advertising in Europe. Sometimes it's all Beach Boys and California Girls and Route 66 and all this Americana. And sometimes they comb all of the American flavor out of their advertising because it's not a country that is um,
Desirable at this point, I guess, too. Is
desirable.
it?
It's like, there are American ideals, and there are times when America does not stand up for American ideals. The American ideals are still shining on a hill and inspiring, but people are confused about what's going on the ground. Having said that, uh, when people do come to America, Europeans have a kind of a short list of places they all want to go. They're going to go to Florida. They're going to go to the Grand Canyon. They're going to go to um, Washington and New York. And just like I would advise Americans going to Europe, I would advise Europeans coming to the United States to realize that, yeah, see the big famous places, but get away from the cliches and the bucket list kind of stuff, and find some kind of excuse to connect with real people. Because that's what carbonates the travel experience, connecting with real people. Um, and that's the mark of a good traveler. And you can connect with real people in any state of this country and have a more enriching experience than just going to some roadside attraction in Florida.
Rick, as we finish up, just a last quick thing. Can you just briefly tell us about this new series that you have coming out?
Yeah, for, well, I don't know, 25, 30 years, every 2 years, I've made a new series for public television, like clockwork. And this fall is time for a new series, and that's 10 or 12 new shows. We're going to places like Iceland and Poland and Istanbul. I was just in Istanbul filming. We're going hiking in the Alps. We're going on a gourmet barge cruise through Burgundy for some nice French cuisine. It's going to be a great series. I should remind people I've got over 100 shows, cut Europe into 100 half-hour slices, and there you got my coverage of Europe. And if you're dreaming of a trip, it is well covered. I've got 2 shows on Norway, 3 shows on Scotland, 4 shows on Ireland, 8 shows on Spain, 18 shows on Italy. That's 9 hours of TV on Italy. If you've got some travel dreams percolating, find my shows because they're entertaining, but they're also great teaching aids. If you're dreaming, what should I do in Sicily? Well, there's 2 great shows. That's an hour on exactly what I would do with you if I was your guide. And you can watch that for free on PBS, or not for free if you support PBS with a membership. You got a ticket to there. You got the app, the PBS Passport app, and you can watch every show I've ever made. And if you're not able to do that, also every show I've ever made is on my website at ricksteves.com. So if you're curious about my show on fascism, if you're curious about my show on the Reformation, if you're curious about my special I did on Iran, or Hunger and Hope, Lessons Learned in Ethiopia and Guatemala, or Europe's Greatest Festivals, or Christmas in 7 different countries, on and on and on. There's the specials. I've got a 6-hour series on the story of European art from the pyramids to Picasso. And probably most importantly, I've got 100 episodes covering Europe from top to bottom. And you can just go there and check it out. On my website, you also get you get the script, and the script has hot links to all the places we visited. So you can just click and check out all those places if you want to splice them into your travel plans. So that's what we do. We've got our focus. It's just Europe, and helping people to travel in a way that broadens their perspective and has richer experiences and saves time and money. One of our philosophies is time is a limited resource, just like money. So Arthur Fromer's great books were Europe on $5 a day. My first books were Europe in 22 days. How to cut through the superlatives and use your time smartly. It's just as important as how to use your money smartly. So it's all there at ricksteves.com. And we're just having a lot of fun. And I can hardly wait to get back to Europe and do some more traveling.
Rick, thank you so much for taking the time today. This truly was a pleasure.
Thanks, Peter, and happy travels.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.